What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sports with Jake. Hope you're all doing well. So we're going to start with a small move in MLB free agency that broke yesterday. The Atlanta Braves signed Mike Yastrzemski, 2 years, $23 million. It's a solid signing for the Atlanta Braves. Yastrzemski's an older player, going to be 35 this coming season, but did not make the big leagues till 2028. He is the grandson of Carl Yastrzemski. Was a Hall of Famer, played way back when for the Boston Red Sox. He won the Triple Crown in the American League back in 1967 with Boston. There was not another Triple Crown done in baseball until Miguel Cabrera did, I think in 2012 or 2013 with the Detroit Tigers. That's his grandson. He broke out in the pandemic year with San Francisco. Followed it up with kind of an okay year in 2021, only at 224, but 768 OPS, 25 homers, 71 RBIs. Struggled in 22 with an OPS under 700. 2023 was hurt for a bit, only 106 games, about 15 homers, 43 RBIs, 233, 775 OPS. 2024 with the Giants was kind of about the same, 231, 18 and 57. Yeah, 739 OPS. Last year was struggling with the Giants, but after getting traded to the Royals, trade line played very well. He finished the year hitting 233, 17 homers, 46 RBIs, but 735 OPS. With the Giants in 96 games, he hit just 231, 8 homers, 28 RBIs, 685 OPS, but in 156 at bats in 50 games with Kansas City. Also only 237, but 9 home runs and an 839 OPS. So he's about a league average bat. He's also a very good outfielder. He's a Gold Glove caliber outfielder, especially in left and right field. Can also play center field. Braves could have used another active bat, and they get one with Mike Yastrzemski. We had big news that broke last night, kind of out of nowhere. Michigan fired head coach Sherrone Moore after 2 seasons on the job. This originally came out of nowhere. Of course, he was the offensive coordinator during the last year of Jim Harbaugh when they won the national championship. He gets promoted to head coach last year. 4-9 his first year, though he does beat Ohio State. This year, went 9-3, ends up being ranked 19th in the country. They have a bowl game coming up against Texas. But then the reasoning came out. So he was fired because of an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. So there's a wild turn of events that happened within a few hours last night. It came out that he went over to his mistress's house and he with a knife and threatened to kill her and himself. I think his wife alerted the authorities. He ends up getting arrested, uh, and he was detained by the Saline, Michigan Police Department, and he's currently being held in custody by the Pittsfield Township Police Department. So just a very wild turn of events for Sherrone Moore and Michigan Wolverines. This puts Michigan in a really tough spot because you have a bowl game coming up in less than a week and a half against a very good Texas team. National Signing Day just happened about a week ago. Are those recruits going to want to stay at Michigan or they're going to transfer somewhere else? Also, who are they going to hire? Because it's so late in the cycle, everyone's pretty much been hired. The big name everyone's talking about would Kalen DeBoer leave Alabama. They got a playoff game in about 3 weeks. Would he leave for Michigan? It's never really been a good fit there at Alabama. Obviously, every single time he loses a game or even doesn't win by, in emphatic fashion, the boosters and everybody will really get on him. Would he take the job at Michigan? Uh, a lot of people mentioned Jesse Minter, the defensive coordinator for the Chargers. He was Harbaugh's DC at Michigan. He brought him with him to the Chargers. He's done a good job as the defensive coordinator there. Has quietly become a head coach candidate briefly in the NFL. Would he take the job? So then a couple of other head coaches that could take the job. Maybe Jed Fisher at Washington. Uh, this is what SportsCenter listed earlier today. Listed Manny Diaz at Duke. Did a good job at Duke this year. He was previously at Miami, though didn't have a ton of success there. They also lost Tommy Rees, the OC for Cleveland. He was the offensive coordinator of Alabama before that, but I don't think that's even a great candidate. But I don't know. I mean, a lot of these Michigan fans are out of their mind, thinking like Dan Lanning is going to leave Oregon, not going to happen. But I don't know where they go from here. They named one of their assistants the interim head coach, so I don't know what they're going to do. going forward. Like I said, they got a bowl game coming up. Moore went 16-8 in 2 seasons, 11-6 in the Big Ten. He's been on the coach in 2018. He started as the tight ends coach, then eventually was their offensive coordinator, then became the head coach. So just a crazy turn of events. Sherrone Moore no longer the coach at the University of Michigan. More details will probably come out about that, and I'm sure we'll find out what Michigan's going to do going forward when it comes to their head coach. But I do want to do my power rankings for the NFL. It is a power rankings Thursday, so let's get into it. At 32, we have a new worst team in football in my power rankings. It's the Las Vegas Raiders. Right now, I think they are the worst team in the entire NFL. They're just so inept. Geno Smith has been absolutely, utterly terrible this season for the Las Vegas Raiders. They make the trade for him. They gave him that $80 million deal on an extension, and he has just literally took the bag and just ran. He has been atrocious. Look like he was with the Jets. I think the guy is just cooked. He's what, 36 years old? Maybe the guy just doesn't have anything left. But he has been utterly terrible for the Las Vegas Raiders. They sit at 2-11, and they have a fantastic young running back in Ashton Genty, who is got no offensive line. The offensive line there is absolutely horrible. Only real weapon you have is your tight end Brock Bowers. Defensively, you're utterly atrocious. Outside of Max Crosby, of course. Pete Carroll's just a terrible fit with the head coach position. Offensive coordinator Chip Kelly, of course, has already been fired. And just my lord. And now Geno Smith is hurt. Probably isn't going to play this week. It looks like it'll be Kenny Pickett to play against Philadelphia. And just it's a disaster in Las Vegas. 31st Tennessee Titans. You pick up one over Cleveland last week. They're still just 2-11. Right now, it's still the second pick of the season ended today. Giants are the first pick. Bears will have three. Titans. Cam Ward overall hasn't looked very good, though he's looked a little better his last couple of games. Running game outside of last week against Cleveland, Tony Pollard hasn't looked all that great. Tyjae Spears hasn't looked all that great. Calvin Ridley's their only weapon, and he's not really a threat. He's been hurt throughout the year. The defense is just okay. Coach has obviously already been fired a long time ago. You fired Brian Callahan after week 6. Mike McCoy is the interim head coach. Hasn't made much of a difference. They're 1-5 this year with Brian Callahan. They are they're 1-5. Brian Callahan. They're 1-6 since McCoy took over. Only win since they made the change was over the Cleveland Browns, who are also terrible in their own right. This is just another team that just there's a lack of talent and not can't get much worse than this, to be honest. At 30th, I do have the New York Giants. Giants are weird. Like I feel like I look at their team like you're not that bad. There's enough talent where you should be this low, but they only have 2 wins. They're 2-11. Right now, they actually have the first pick in the NFL draft. The head coach Brian Daboll's already been fired. The defensive coordinator Shane Bowen was fired a couple of weeks ago. Not sure why he wasn't fired along with Daboll. For some reason, GM Joe Shane still has a job. I have no idea why. This seems a disaster. I wouldn't even put Jackson Dart out there behind the offensive line with his starting back Cam Scabble on the shelf as top receiver, like Neighbors on the shelf. Defensively, they've underperformed all year. Secondary is awful. They're not great against the run. You have some talented pass rushers, but Abdul Clark, third overall pick, has been a major disappointment. Kayvon Thibodeaux's been a major disappointment. Dexter Lawrence has had a down year. It's just been a rough year. Another one for the New York Giants. At 29th, it is the Cleveland Browns. They are 3-10. Right now, they would have pick 6 in the draft, I think. Something like that. They're really bad. Shedeur Sanders, he hasn't looked great. I mean, he played well against Tennessee last week, but Tennessee is also a train wreck of a team. I mean, the running game's pretty good with Pritchard and Jenkins, but receivers aren't great. Jerry Judy's pretty good. Other than that, not a whole lot there. I do like Howard Fainin, but the offensive line is terrible. They have a talented defense, but they have just one of the worst passing offenses known to man. And Kevin Stefanski, he clearly doesn't like Shedeur. The weird thing is, I don't think he's a bad coach. I actually think he's a decent head coach. I just think that he's just so fed up with this god-awful situation, and he doesn't like Shedeur at all, and he's almost doing this out of spite. It's almost like he's trying to get fired at this point, but I think he's going to get canned. Andrew Berry should go as well. I think because of the regime in Cleveland. They're at 3-10. They right now are 29th. 28th is New Orleans Saints. But we all knew they were going to be bad. Trevor Shuck has not been horrendous, but also hasn't been great either by any means. Now the Kamara's hurt, so Devin Neal's your top running back. Chris Olave has stayed mostly healthy this year. He's had a good year. Other than that, there is nothing really to work with. The offensive line is terrible. Their defense is atrocious. Kellen Moore, I mean, I don't think he's done a horrible job. I mean, this team was devoid of talent. We all had a feeling this team was going to be a 2-3 win team. And they have 3 wins a month ago, so that's about as he's done as good a job as really anybody else could. 27th is the Atlanta Falcons. Just a horrible team. They're 4-9. Michael Penix, your first round quarterback from a year ago, was on the shelf. Drake London was hurt. You don't have a first round pick. You have 37 or 38-year-old Kirk Cousins starting. Outside of BJ Robinson, not a whole lot to get excited about. Raheem Morris is a horrendous coach. He's got to go. The GM Fontenot should go as well. It's a really bad football team. At number 26 is the New York Jets. Look, Tyrod Taylor has played pretty well, but now he might be hurt. Fields is still hurt, getting hurt in practice last week. Brady Cook looked really bad. Everyone was clamoring, let's give this guy a shot. I get why, you know Justin Fields is not the answer. You know Tyrod Taylor is a backup. If anything, maybe he gets re-signed on a cheap deal to be maybe a mentor for a good kid you draft next year. Nothing further. See what you have in this kid so you don't waste a late pick or undrafted signing. But he was utterly atrocious last week in relief of Tyrod Taylor, who gets hurt against Miami. Now he might have to start against Jacksonville this week. Just nothing's going right with the New York Jets. I like Breece Hall, but your receiving core is weak with Garrett Wilson hurt, and defensively you're not very good. I don't think Aaron Glen's a very good coach. You get the picture with the New York Jets. 25th is the Washington Commanders, just depleted by injuries. The way they've handled Jane Daniels here has been just fireable. How do you throw him out there last week? And apparently, even though he's not playing this week, he might play it somewhat the rest of the season. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Start Marcus Mariota the rest of the way. I don't care, who he's handing it off to, whether it's Krusty Merritt or Chris Rodriguez, in terms of Terry McLaurin, somebody else. I know the defense has nothing. But how they've handled Jaden Daniels, it's just pitiful. 24th is the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, look, they've made some strides since they benched Kyler Murray. Brissett's look good. And maybe that raises his value for agency this upcoming offseason. The offense looked a little bit better. Marvin Harrison's starting to really play well. Michael Wilson's been really good. Bryant's a great tight end. Defensively, they looked a little bit better, but still, not a good team. You're 3-10. I don't think Jonathan Gannon will get fired. But, he's been there 3 years. He hasn't really sniffed the playoffs. He took a step back from last year. Who knows what happens with him? But I think he should get one more year with a legit quarterback in there, hopefully. 23rd, Minnesota Vikings. I mean, you should get a shutout last week over Washington, but McCarthy finally looked competent, but obviously overall he's been really, really bad. I mean, the roster there is good, but just you're 5-8 and just you don't have a quarterback. 22nd is Miami Dolphins. So Miami all of a sudden has gotten hot at 6-7. You've won 4 in a row all of a sudden. Also, Buffalo, you've beaten 3 very bad teams: the Cleveland, the Saints, and the New York Jets. If anything, all it has done is hurt your draft stuff, and it just strengthens Mike McDaniel's job security, which is obviously a bad thing if you ask me. But they're at 22nd. They're not a good team, but all of a sudden at 6-7, they're somehow not eliminated yet. 21st is the Cincinnati Bengals. Their season's probably over. They're now at 4-9. Tough loss to Buffalo last week. They have the worst defense in football. They just can't stop anything now. Troy Henderson's been shut down for the year. The offensive line obviously isn't good. Joe Burrow's back. That's great, but he's got to score 40 points every single week to even give them a chance. At 20 is the Baltimore Ravens. This team is just, I don't understand it. Lamar's got to be playing hard. He has not looked like himself. He's not running as much. He's not done any damage with his arm. He's got maybe 2 or 3 pass touchdowns since he came back from the injury. He's been really, really bad. And the defense, they've played a lot better since the beginning of the year when they were hurt and struggling. But they're just not great. This team isn't as advertised. They're 6-7 for no reason. 19th is the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're as mediocre as they always are. At 7-6, Aaron Rodgers looks like he's 42. The running game's gotten a little bit better with Kenneth Gainwell and Jalen Warren, but Only real weapon is DK Metcalf. Defensively, you weren't very good outside TJ Watt, especially in that secondary. I mean, besides Joey Porter, I guess. But Mike Tomlin, it's just time for both sides to move on. He's a good coach, but it's time for both sides to move on. It just is. Okay, and the funny thing is, they're gonna go 9-8 and probably win the division because this division blows. 18 is the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't think the Chiefs are going to make the playoffs. They are sitting at 6-7. Patrick Mahomes is, he's been good, but he hasn't been Patrick Mahomes. They don't have much of a running game. Your best back is Kareem Hunt in the Big 25. But I like Xavier Worthy. He's a nice gadget piece for She Rice is a good receiver. But that's really all you have. Travis Kelce's wash. The offensive line is depleted. The defense isn't as good. They have no pass rush. They're not great against the run. Chris Jones isn't himself anymore. And I love Andy Reid, but he's got to get rid of Matt Nagy. Matt Nagy is a horrific football coach. Their offensive coordinator, terrible head coach, terrible OC. He's just a horrific football coach. 70th is the Dallas Cowboys at 6-1. I mean, look, Philadelphia losing keeps them in the division, but I have a hard time seeing him doing any damage. Rest of the way, I mean, the offense can score a lot. Dak's had a good year. They can run the football with Devontae Williams. He's had a resurgent year, over 1,000 yards. George Pickens has been great. The last week his effort was very bad. CB Lamb, the drop to side, is a very good receiver. Jake Ferguson's a good red zone threat. Defensively, they're better with Quinn Williams, but still are not very good. You're sitting at 6-1. Obviously, should never have traded away Micah Parsons. At number 16 is the Carolina Panthers. Also at 7-6, they're tied for first place. They have one of the best running games in the league with Rico Dowdle. They have a very good defense. Problem is the lack of a passing offense with a very inconsistent quarterback in Bryce Young. You've got Ted McMillan's been really good, but other than that, no real weapons in the receiving game. But you're still at 7-6. Obviously, a team when they're on, they're a very, very good elite defensive team. Smash mouth football team. When they're off, they're very, very bad. At 15th is Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're really struggling. A lot of injuries. Looks like you're getting Mike Evans back this week, as well as Jalen McMillan. So they will get his weapons back. Bucky Irving's already back. Problem is the offensive line is beat up and the defense is beat up. I don't think Todd Bowles is a good coach. I've said that so many times on this show. But they're at 15th. They're 7-6. Still clinging to the division lead in the NFC South. 14th is the Indianapolis Colts, who continue to tumble. They've now lost 3 in a row. Their quarterback this week is most likely going to be a 44-year-old Philip Rivers, who has not played in 5 years. Philip Rivers had a great career, borderline Hall of Famer, likable guy, very good quarterback, but it's been 5 years. That being said, he's funny, good guy. It'll be fun to see, hopefully. I expect a heavy deal to Jonathan Taylor, who threw about the first 11 weeks, I thought was the MVP of the league, but has struggled the last 3 weeks. This is a good team, but with Sauce Gardner around, that defense isn't great. And they're definitely in some deep trouble because they don't have a quarterback, and defensively they're not great. At 13th is the Los Angeles Chargers. Close to Jim Harbaugh, having them at 9-4 and in the playoff picture right now, even with all their injuries. Herbert's obviously playing hurt. You just got Marion Hampton back. And kudos to Lab McConkey. That guy's really good. Also, kudos to Quentin Johnson, who's had a much better year. He's quieted the drop issues. He's had the best year of his career from our first round receiver. And look, the offensive line is depleted. It's one of the worst in football right now. Defensively, they have a ton of injuries, but they're hanging in there. They got a big win over the Philadelphia Eagles in primetime last week. At 12, I have the Houston Texans. They're playing some great football. They've got the best defense in the NFL, in my opinion. Stroud hasn't been great, but he doesn't have much of a running game, with your top back being Woody Marks. After Nico Collins, no real true weapons, maybe outside Dalton Schultz. The offensive line is still really bad, but that defense is ferocious. D'Amico Ryan has done a great job having them turn this thing around. They've won 5 in a row, 8 of their last 10. And right now have a chance to still win the division, and they're looking like they got a good chance to get into the postseason, even after that really bad 0-3 start. 11th is the Jacksonville Jaguars. Coach Liam Cohen, I did not think he'd be this good of a head coach. He's done a good job. They're 9-4, right now in first place in the AFC South. They went over Indianapolis last week. Trevor Lawrence has not been great this year, but ETN's been decent. Brian Thompson's playing better lately. Jacoby Myers is a great pickup for this team. They're a solid defensive team. Probably one of the more underrated defenses in the league. I would say they have a top 12, 13 defense in the league. And they're playing good football. They're right now at 9-4, and they have a game against the Jets this week. I think they're going to win. Because the Jets suck. Top 10. Number 10, I do have the Detroit Lions. Look, big win over Dallas in prime time. You're 8-5. We all know this team has concerns. Defensively, they're not very good. A lot of injuries. Now Brian Branch is out for the year. So you're down both of your all-pro safeties. The interior offensive line is very bad, but still very explosive offense with Gibbs and Montgomery. Amon-Ra playing through that injury, still a great receiver. J-Mel's obviously a legit deep threat, but just I think too many injuries and too many concerns. Something to make the playoffs. Do think they will miss the playoffs, but still got a shot. You're at 8-5, but tough schedule the last month of the year. At 9, you have the Philadelphia Eagles, who continue to struggle. You lost 3 in a row. You blow a 21-point lead to the Dallas Cowboys. You get smacked by Chicago at home, and then you lose to a depleted Chargers team. You lose in overtime. Jalen Hurts is really, really struggling. It's almost hard to explain. I feel like last year they really ran this offense through Saquon Barkley, which they should be doing. They had just an elite, beyond elite running game, and they kind of simplified the offense for Jalen Hurts to just, get the ball to his playmaker, whether it was A.J. Brown, whether it was Devonta Smith, somebody else. It just made things so much simpler. Now, I think it has a lot to do with because A.J. Brown's been so upset this year that he's not getting the ball. He's been such a diva that they're force feeding him, and they're kind of running the offense through him and not Saquon, which is, kind of on everybody. It's on AJ, it's on Jalen, it's on Barkley, it's on Nick Sirianni, it's on the OC, Kevin Patullo, it's on all of them. And as a result, the running game has not been as effective. Saquon's not been as effective. Jalen Hurts is struggling. Even though AJ Brown, he's had a couple of 100-yard games now, but he also had 2 key drops last week. Devonta had one. So just this team is just in free fall mode. Uh, Granted, Dallas is a very flawed team themselves, even more flawed, so they should still win the NFC East, but they lose to the Raiders with Kenny Pickett this week. You gotta have a conversation because something's really wrong. Something's already wrong. Shame because that defense is elite, but offensively they're just in such a funk right now. 8th is the Chicago Bears. Obviously, you beat Philly. Tough loss to Green Bay last week. I mean, Caleb Williams just isn't good. The shame is the rest of the team is great. Ben Johnson's a great head coach. He's done a really good job in his first year there. A good running game led by DeAndre Swift, Kyle Monagai. Roma Dundas had a breakout year in his second season. Colson Loveland's been playing well. Defensively, he hasn't been great all year, but Jamin Johnson, Kyler Gordon back in my secondary should help. Bears are a very good team at not 9-4. But because of how good your division is, you're now no longer in first place. You're barely in the playoffs. They have a tough schedule down the stretch. Bears might be in some trouble. 7th is the San Francisco 49ers. Again, ton of injuries, but you're at 9-4. Purdy is back. McCaffrey's been healthy all year. He's been great. Pearsall's healthy. Juwan Jennings healthy. Kale's healthy right now. Problem is the offensive line isn't very good. The defense has a ton of injuries, but 9-4 right now. You're in the playoffs. You're still in the race in the NFC West. 6th is the Buffalo Bills. Big win over Cincinnati last week. Josh Allen has been great. James Cook has ran his ass off. You don't have much of a defense. They have not been very good defensively. And your receiving work could use work. Like Keon Coleman has looked good since coming back from his benching. But you're sitting at 6. You're at, 9-4. Big game against New England this week. 5th is the Denver Broncos. Look, I think they're a fraudulent team. They're barely getting by a lot of these bad teams, but you're 11-2. Your defense is loaded. Now Pat Surtain is back. Alex Singleton's back after that health scare. Kudos to him for taking the time to address obviously some serious medical concerns that he had. And they're top 3 in football. Bo Nix, look, he's been inconsistent, but he's come up clutch. The running games have been pretty good with R.J. Harvey. They're still a very good team. At 4, you do have the New England Patriots. They've played a lot of bad teams this year, but they're winning the games. They're 11-2. Drake May's played really well. Henderson's gotten hot in the running game. Stephon Diggs has had a bit of a resurgent year. Defensively, they've been very good against the run, or maybe the best in the league. Christian Gonzalez has led a pretty good secondary. Mike Vrabel's one of the best coaches in the league. This is a very good team. At 3rd, the Green Bay Packers. They are 9-3-1 right now. They're playing really well. Jordan Love's playing well. The running game with Josh Jacobs has been as effective as last year, but also having Emmanuel Wilson more involved has helped. Jaden Reed came back last week. That's a big guy to get back. Romeo Dubes is playing well. Christian Watts has been on fire. Even Dontavian Wicks has been getting involved. So the offense is firing on all cylinders. That defense is elite, led by Micah Parsons. They come in at 3. At 2, I have a Seattle Seahawks. This is a great team. You're at 10-3. Sam Darnold's played really well. Got a good running game with Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. JSN right now is the best receiver in all of football. Shaheed was a great pickup for them. Defensively, you're one of the best in the league. Really underrated defensive unit. They're really, really good in all three phases. Probably the best run defense, at least in the NFC. And just all three phases are very, very good. Mike McDonald's done a great job there. And you're at 10-3. I think you're a legit contender. And number one is Los Angeles Rams. Stafford, I think, is the MVP of the league. The offense is loaded. You can run the ball. You can throw the ball. You have a very good defense. Most complete team in the league. In my opinion, the best coach in football with Sean McVay. Rams at 10-3. Still in first place because they had to head over to Seattle. Right now are my best team in the National Football League. Let's preview Saturday night's main event. I'm not going to do a show tomorrow. I'm not going to do another show until Monday, so that's why the preview is going to be happening today and not tomorrow. So let's get into it. Let's do the kind of the lesser matches first. We have Soruka against Bailey. I expect Soruka to win this match. Soruka is really, really good. One of the most talented women's wrestlers in all of WWE, in my opinion. She's done a great job at NXT. Facing Bailey. Bailey has always been more than willing to put over a young talent. She has her whole career, something she's very, very good at. And she does so here. Plus, this is the right move anyway. Soruka is very, very talented. I think her uh, main roster debut was pretty close to imminent, if you ask me. I'm not sure if they want to finish up what she has going with Zarya right now in NXT, but she'll be on the main roster very, very soon. I expect her to be on Friday Night SmackDown shortly. So she's definitely going to go over in this match. World Tag Team titles will be AJ Styles and Dragon Lee defending them against Javon Evans and Leon Slater. I'm really excited for this match. This should be a great match, a lot of fun to watch. This is everything I want in a tag team title match. I expect Styles and Lee to retain. Javon obviously just lost the NXT title match to Oba. Him and Slater are still kind of a team right now. So I do expect Styles and Lee to win this match. I think they're building towards eventually the Usos having a match with them. Maybe the New Day are involved in that somehow. But this should be an awesome match. I'm very, very excited for it. This might honestly be the best match of the night. Cody Rhodes against Obafemi. Cody Rhodes is, of course, the WWE champion. Obafemi is the NXT champion. I'm going to pick Obafemi to win the match. Something in the back of my head tells me Cody's going to win. I know how Triple H books. He's very predictable. Cody's his guy for whatever reason. I have a hard time having him lose to Obafemi. But Obafemi should win the match. Obafemi is literally the ruler. If he comes to the main roster, which he's going to very, very soon, I really think he'll be in the Royal Rumble, and from there, they'll catapult him to the main roster from there. Like, he's gotta, they have to book him like he is in the NXT, like the guy who's clearly just a step above everybody. He has to be booked like that. If Cody beats him, it doesn't kill him. He's still in NXT. Cody Rhodes is a veteran who's currently the top babyface in the company, where he should be or not. That's just the way that things are right now. So it doesn't kill Oba, but if you have Cody put Oba over, yeah, now Cody looks a little bit weak, but he should be losing the title very, very soon. He should have already lost it at this point. This now is where you can kind of really pivot back to Drew McIntyre and finally put the title on Drew McIntyre. And now Obafemi just looks unstoppable. Honestly, if I had the pencil, I would have Obafemi win in about 6 minutes. I would have him demolish Cody Rhodes. That's what I would do. That's not going to be happening, but that's what I would do. If you really want to lean into this, ruler gig that Obafemi is doing right now. But I'm going to pick Obafemi to win. I'll say Cody puts him over, but I'm very worried that's not going to happen. And then this is not the main event. It's opening the show, but it's, what everyone's coming to watch. John Cena's last ever match will be against Gunther. Gunther is going to win this match. It's very obvious. Cena's not the kind of guy that's going to want to win his last match. He's definitely going to lose to Gunther. I really wish, I have a feeling they're going to have him tap out. I really wish they would do something a little bit more creative. Hopefully, I would rather him pass up and tap out because his model's always been to never give up. That wouldn't make a lot of sense. It already doesn't make a lot of sense if Gunther's his last opponent, but it doesn't make a ton of sense that from tap out, I'd rather him pass us. But all right, he never actually gave up. Like he was like maybe forced to give up. That makes any sense. I'm hoping they do something here. maybe what probably happens, Gunther makes him tap out. Gunther stands over him. He leaves the ring. Cena gets up. He's all bewildered. He gets a microphone. He's like, "Oh, sorry I lost tonight," but and then he has a really nice retirement speech. Thanks whoever. He'll thank some of the executives. He'll thank some of the other wrestlers. He'll probably sort of maybe he mentions his wife. He'll thank the fans. And then I have a feeling after the show he'll probably come out again and get one last standing ovation because this is his last match, his last appearance in WWE as an in performer, which I just cannot wrap my head around. I can't do it. Take my hat off. Thank you, John Cena, for everything for the last 25 years. You are truly the greatest of all time. All I got for you guys today. Till next time. So long. Have a great day.